All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Buccaneers Daily. Baby, the pads are on. Preseason football is soon, and before you know it, the regular season will be here. But guys, Buccaneers football is back. We're in pads, baby. It feels so good. And there literally has been nothing but praise and hype coming out of Buccaneers camp. That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. And it all starts with the quarterback battle. So it seems kind of like people are starting to come around to the idea of, oh, hey, the Buccaneers still have a loaded roster, specifically their defense. And even though the Saints, Derek Carr going on over to the Saints, new QB over in Carolina, the Falcons are rising, it's still a weak division. It's still a weak conference. But the Buccaneers could easily win 9 football games this upcoming season. They could even win more in this division. I don't get why so many people are already doom and gloom on the Buccaneers. And what is so nice and refreshing to see is Buccaneers fans right now. It's hype. There's hype. There's this chip on the shoulder. There's this low expectations that has all the Buccaneers fans licking their chops because honestly, guys, this is a really good roster, and it all starts with the quarterback, right? So Baker Mayfield, Kyle Trask, that's the quarterback battle. That's the battle to watch, the camp battle to watch when it comes to Buccaneers football right now. Kyle Trask apparently has been outdueling Baker Mayfield. Specifically yesterday in pads at practice, they were focused primarily on the red zone, and Trask got the better of Baker. Baker threw a couple of picks. He was picked off 2 times, and Kyle Trask was demonstrating his accuracy and the zip on the football. And I just want everyone to be reminded that Kyle Trask in his final year at Florida was 4th in Heisman voting, 68.9 completion percentage, over 4,200 passing yards, just 12 games. 43 touchdowns, 8 interceptions for a rating of 180. This is a QB who was selected in the 2nd round, who has played behind Tom Brady for several seasons. A couple of seasons he's been behind the GOAT, TB12. That 100% has rubbed off on him. And, whether it's Baker or Trask, I actually like both quarterbacks. But for me, I think Kyle Trask is... he was selected in the 2nd round for a reason. He was a stud at Florida, specifically in his final season. On this channel, man, if you've been watching this channel for the last year or so, I am so big on the Trask attack. But before we get any further into today's video, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily Buccaneers content. We're trying to hit 4,000 subs by the start of the regular season. So if we could try and get this video to 100 likes, that would mean the world to me. But guys, I really think... I think Trask is the guy. And one thing we've really been talking about in a lot of these videos recently is kind of a comparison to the Seattle Seahawks, where last year the Seahawks were projected to win 4 or 5 football games. They had Geno Smith, who, he's stayed in the league, right? Just a solid backup QB. He's always kind of dealt with injury concerns. So the thought was, start the season with Geno, and they'll probably go to Drew Lock, the backup QB, for the second half of the year, more towards the end of the season. I could see, but they won 9 football games. Geno Smith won Comeback Player of the Year, and they made the playoffs, and they were beating San Francisco at halftime. I could 100% see the same similarity with Tampa Bay this upcoming season. Keep in mind, guys, there are 6 new playoff teams every single year in the National Football League. The Buccaneers easily, I know they made the playoffs last year, they can easily get back to the playoffs, all right? Another thing that's been eye-opening in camp has been the rookies. All the rookies. Now, I will post a video on Kalijah Cansey's injury, strained calf. Very unideal 1st-round draft pick, selected at pick number 19, defensive tackle out of Pittsburgh. Very unfortunate injury. The good news, however, with Kalijah, before he went down with that calf strain, he was feasting. And the actual report from the Buccaneers coaching staff were eye-opening plays. Big time. Kalijah is a big time playmaker, but he joins an already talented defense. One final comment on the offense. Payne Durham, tight end out of Purdue, getting some hype right now in camp, mini camp, OTAs, just all summer in general. I think he's going to be a great red zone target for whoever the QB is next season. This past year at Purdue, and keep in mind, Purdue, 8-6, not a crazy offense. They had Aiden O'Connell, 22 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. They had Charlie Jones, over 1,300 receiving yards. Purdue, not necessarily known for an explosive offense. However, Payne Durham, in his senior year this past year, 56 catches, 560 yards, but the big number was 8 total touchdowns. So, I think with Cade Otton, I really like the tight end room with the Buccaneers right now. I'm so big on Cade Otton, it's crazy. But Payne Durham, Keefe even, expect some touchdowns, expect some red zone opportunities for Mr. Payne Durham this upcoming season. But speaking of Kalijah Cansey, the defense in general, all camp, has been getting a lot of praise. But we know the Buccaneers defense is really good. We know this is a championship. This is a Super Bowl caliber defense. Yeah, they lost some pieces. They also gained some pieces, specifically, through the draft or free agency. But they still have heavy hitters. They still have stars on this defense. So, worst case scenario, I think the defense, if they were to deal with, injuries, even if they dealt with injuries this upcoming season, I don't see them being worse than middle of the pack. So, if Baker or Trask or whoever the starting QB is, if he can manage this game, limit turnovers, move the ball down the field, get touchdowns, convert in the red zone, and the defense does their thing, and your offense and defense just stays moderately healthy, right? Just mainly healthy. Well, I really think the Buccaneers are going to make some noise here. And like I said, one thing I've really noticed making Buccaneers videos in the last week was, there's just a lot of praise with a lot of the young talent on this roster. So even if this upcoming season, say they win 6 or 7 games, or they just don't make the playoffs, it's looking bright. If we were to go with that hypothetical, well, you're going to have a top 10 draft pick and you're going to be able to take a quarterback if Trask isn't the guy. But the Buccaneers are just in this win-win position right now where there's existing talent, but there's also young rising talent. Take a look at Rachaad White, the running back, RB1. This is a guy who's just begging to get more opportunities with Leo last season because, you wanted to preserve Leo's legs. But Rachaad White was just a player who, running backs in this league, man, you get most of their production in their first 5 or 6 years. Rachaad White's 24 years old. He saw almost 500 rushing yards this past season. He was the lone bright spot, in my opinion, with the Buccaneers rushing last year. And another thing, just to kind of, end this video here, and I believe I got a comment on this, what the media won't tell you, but what Buccaneers fans are pretty aware of. And there's a lot of things that go into this. Offensive line injuries, Byron Leftwich is probably not being the right offensive coordinator. Tom Brady was probably the Buccaneers' worst offensive player last season. All right, he just, Tom Brady wasn't Tom Brady this past season. Like I said, there were a lot of things that went into it. Injuries, just a deteriorated offensive line, no rushing attack whatsoever. But it has me very hopeful and it has me very optimistic, not only for this upcoming season, but just the future in general. So that's it for today, man. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily Buccaneers content. Like I said, we're trying to hit 4,000 subs. I appreciate your guys' support and love so much. It means the world to me as a Southwest Florida resident. So I hope you guys have a great week. We'll be back at here actually probably later today with a Kalijah Cansey injury update video. But that's it. Hit that like button, hit that sub button, and I'll see you guys later.